Morning. Today we are going to discuss about the topic parking studies. So parking is one important problem faced by the road users, right? Whenever the road users are using the road for transportation purposes, in case the vehicle need to be parked at one particular space, one particular location for a certain duration of time, if sufficient space is not available for parking, it becomes a very serious issue. So, in civil engineering point of view and transportation engineering, how parking is important and how can the problem of parking be prevented by suitable studies. We are going to discuss about that. So, parking studies. So, data regarding the availability of parking space, extent of its usage, and parking demand is essential. In some cases, it is also estimating the parking fares. Now, for getting all this information, what is the availability of parking space? What is the extent up to which the parking space is used, and what is the parking demand? For estimating all these things, parking surveys are provided. But the issue is the duration for which vehicles are passed at different parking locations will be varying. It is varying with the vehicle. So there is a need of several statistical tools for analyzing the parking need. So parking studies can be, or parking statistics can be described under the following subheads. Parking accumulation. Parking accumulation means consider a particular instant of time. In that particular instant of time, what is the total number of vehicles that is parked at one particular area? We have a study area. In that study area at one particular instant of time, how many number of vehicles are parked? You call it as the parking accumulation. Normally, this parking accumulation can be expressed graphically by a curve known as the accumulation curve. Accumulation curve means at different times, how many number of parking bays are occupied. You are plotting it, these two quantities. At different times, what is the total number of parking bays occupied? And you get a curve known as the accumulation curve. This accumulation curve is used for graphical representation of parking accumulation. Now, next type of parking statistics is parking volume. At a given duration of time, what is the total number of vehicles passed? In this, for one particular duration, suppose you are considering a study area for a time duration of 1 hour. Within this time duration of 1 hour, how many number of vehicles, what is the total volume of vehicles entering into the parking area? You are determining that. You call it as the parking volume. So we have seen parking accumulation. Parking accumulation means at one particular given instant of time, whereas in parking volume, for a given duration of time, what is the total number of vehicles? Next one is parking load. In parking accumulation, we have seen that it is a graphical representation of duration and what is the total number of vehicles occupying. So what is the area under the accumulation curve? The area under the accumulation curve will give the parking load. Next one is average parking duration. The parking load is divided by the total number of vehicles parked. So you have already obtained the parking load. Parking load divided by parking volume will give the parking duration. Next one is parking turnover. Number of vehicles parked in a duration to the number of parking bays available. So these are the different parking statistics. Okay, so that is the different parking statistics. Now, parking surveys. In order to get the above discussed parking statistics, we have to conduct different parking surveys. So there are different type of parking surveys. The most common type of parking survey being in-out survey, then fixed period sampling and license plate method of study. These are the most common type of parking surveys: in and out survey, fixed period sampling, and license plate method. In and out survey means the occupancy count in the selected parking lot is taken at the beginning. So what is the number of vehicles that enter the parking lot for a particular time interval? You are counting the number of vehicles entering the parking lot for a particular time interval. What is the total number of vehicles that is leaving the parking lot? That is also taken. Number of vehicles entering the parking lot is taken. Number of vehicles leaving the parking lot is taken. So what is the total number of occupancy of parking at that particular area is taken? So I'm sorry, here the labor requirement is very less. The only thing we need to take is what is the number of vehicles entering the parking area and number of vehicles leaving the parking area. So only one person may be enough. One person will be standing at the gate and counting the number of vehicles entering and exiting. But the limitation with this in and out survey is that there is no data regarding the time duration for which a particular parking, for which a particular vehicle is using the parking lot. Your total, or you are counting the in and out time, but you don't have a provision for measuring the parking duration. So this type of survey is having certain limitation. That is the in and out survey. Second type of parking survey is fixed period sampling. Fixed period sampling means this is almost similar to in-out survey. At the beginning of the survey, all the vehicles are counted. Then after a fixed time interval, suppose say that a fixed time interval of 15 minutes to 1 hour, you are taking the count again. At the beginning of the survey, vehicles are counted. Then after a fixed time interval of say 15 minutes to 1 hour, again the counting is done. Here, there are chances of missing the number of vehicles that were parked for a short duration. You're considering a fixed period of suppose 15 minutes or 1 hour. So there is a chance that some vehicles may be missed from this traffic counting during this short duration of time. So that is the limitation with the fixed period sampling. Next one is license plate method of survey. Actually, license plate method of survey is the most accurate and realistic method for determination of parking characteristics. At every parking stall, there is a continuous monitoring of continuously the parking is being monitored. And what is the license number of all the vehicles that is entering into the parking area is noted down. So what is happening is one particular vehicle, what is the time duration for which the vehicle is entering the parking way? What is the time at which the vehicle is leaving the parking bay? So this will give what is the duration for which the particular vehicle was used in the parking bay. So this is the license plate method of survey. We have seen three methods: in-out survey, fixed period sampling, and license plate method of survey. Next one is effects of parking. There are certain ill effects for parking like congestion, accidents, pollution, obstruction to firefighting operations, etc. Now we can see that what are these effects and how these effects are caused. If there is no proper space for parking, what will happen? The vehicles will be parked on the street itself. If the vehicles are continuously parked on the street, what will happen? It will lead to a reduction in the space available for transit, right? So parking will be taking considerable street space, and that may be leading to lowering of road capacity. If the road capacity is lowered, what will happen? It will be resulting in traffic congestion. There will be a reduced traffic speed and there will be a delayed time. So an operational cost of the vehicle will also be increasing. So this is why we say that parking studies is highly significant. If parking study is not conducted properly, there is a chance that there may be congestion on the streets, which will be leading to reduced speed, journey time and delay, and also great operational cost. Second one is accidents. If parking is not attended carefully, it may be leading to accident, and these accidents are called as the parking accidents. When a vehicle is driven out from a parking area, if the doors of the vehicles are not open properly, okay, there is a chance that it will collide with some other vehicle and it can be leading to accident. Same is the case when a vehicle is brought into the parking area. So utmost care need to be given for parking and unparking a vehicle from a parking area. Next one is environmental pollution. So parking will cause environmental pollution because stopping a vehicle and starting a vehicle while parking and unparking will be resulting in noise and fumes. And this will affect the aesthetic beauty of the buildings. Next one is obstruction to firefighting operation. If the parking vehicles is not parked in the proper way, it will be leading to obstructing the movement of firefighting vehicles. It may be breaking the access to hydrants and access to buildings. Now, parking requirements, on-street parking. The vehicles are parked on the sides of the street itself. For regulating the on-street parking, there should be strict administration by the governing body. There are different types of on-street parking available. Actually, the classification of on-street parking of vehicles is done on the basis of angle which the vehicle is making with the road alignment. So let us see. The different types of parking include, one is parallel parking. Here you can see that it is the parallel parking. Parallel parking means this is the length of the road and the vehicles are parked along the length of the road. So there is no backward movement involved while parking or unparking the vehicle. The vehicle will be coming in this direction and it will be parking here like this, parallel to the length of the road. So parallel parking is the safest method of parking from accident perspective because there is no backward movement operation. But the problem is this will be consuming a lot of space. It will be consuming the maximum curb length. Okay, I think you're following. This is the length of the road. Vehicles will be coming in either of these direction and it will be parking in a parallel manner to the road length. This method of parking, this parallel method of parking will be producing least obstruction to the ongoing traffic. Another type of parking is 30-degree parking. With respect to the road alignment, the vehicles will be parked at an angle of 30 degrees. So the advantage of this type of parking is more and more vehicles can be parked when we are comparing it with the parallel parking. Next one is 45-degree parking. As the angle of parking is increasing, more number of vehicles can be parked. In 30 degree, it is making an angle of 30 degree with the road alignment, whereas in case of 45 degree, it is making an angle of 45 degree with the road alignment. And more number of vehicles can be parked if the parking angle is increased. So when you are comparing it with the 30 degree and parallel parking, 45 degree parking can accommodate more and more vehicles. Next one is 60-degree parking, when the vehicles are parked at an angle of 60 degree to the direction of the road. So in 60-degree parking, again the total number of vehicles that are parked can be increased. So these are the different on-street parking. And there is one more thing, that is right angle parking. Right angle parking means if this is the road, the parking will be done perpendicular to the direction of the road. Here you can see it is shown here. This is the road length and vehicles are parked at 90 degree. But the chances of accidents is more in case of this 90-degree parking. In some urban areas, there is a provision of providing parking spaces from the mainstream of traffic. Okay, at a particular distance from the mainstream of traffic, there is a chance of providing some parking allocation. So in this type of areas, on-street parking is not encouraged. So you call such a parking as the off-street parking. This off-street parking facilities may be operated by the government or private firms. So this is a off-street parking facility. Vehicles will be entering into the parking area through this direction. It will be getting parked along the boundaries and it will be exiting through these areas. So this is provided especially in urban areas, because in the case of rural areas, there is no such traffic congestion and also a lot of vacant spaces available on the road for parking provision. But in the case of urban areas, this is not the situation. So specialized areas are provided for exclusively for parking purpose. So this is about the different parking studies and how parking is conducted. Now we have to discuss about the accident studies. The study of accidents is very, very important from traffic engineering point of view. Continuing about the accident studies. What are the objectives of accident studies? So for conducting a study on accident, there are certain objectives. First of all, what is the cause of accident and how a corrective measure can be suggested at that particular location. If an accident has occurred at one particular location, we have to study what is the cause of that accident and how similar accidents will not occur at that particular location. For that, what are the corrective measures to be suggested? Now, for an existing design, to evaluate the existing design, then to compute the financial losses incurred. Okay, if there is an accident occurred, what are the financial losses incurred due to that accident? Now, to support the proposed design, if there is a design proposed, to support the proposed design and provide economic justification to the improvement. And finally, to carry out before and after studies and to demonstrate the improvement in the problem. These are the different objectives of accident studies. To study the causes of accidents and suggest corrective measures at potential location, to evaluate the existing design, to compute the financial losses incurred, to support the proposed design and provide economic justification to the improvement, and to carry out before and after studies and to demonstrate the improvement in the problem. These are the different objectives of accident studies. Now coming to the causes of road accident, there are different causes for road accident. First one being road uses. So road uses means if the driver of the vehicle is driving in a very excessive speed or rash way, that is one cause of accident due to the road user. Then violation of traffic rules. Then if the driver of the vehicle or pedestrian is not able to perceive the traffic situation, traffic signal at particular time, it may be resulting in accident. And carelessness, use of alcohol, sleeping while driving. These are the different road users factors that trigger the accidents. Another important factor that causes accidents is the condition of vehicle. If some defects are occurring to the vehicle, like failure of brakes, steering system, the tire of the vehicle is bursting, lighting system of the vehicle is damaged. These are the different vehicle condition which will cause the accident. Next one is road condition. Road condition include if there is a skidding road surface, if there are potholes on the roads, ruts, etc. on the road, that are different road condition that will be causing accidents. Next one is road design. If the geometric design of the road is defective, like side distance is not proper, shoulder width is not proper, curve design is not proper, traffic control devices and lighting is not proper. So road users, vehicle, road conditions, and the failures or defects in the road design. Another one is environmental factors. If the environmental conditions are not favorable, like it is a misty condition, snow, smoke, heavy rainfall, etc., which will be restricting the normal visibility and makes the driving unsafe. And the other causes of road accidents include improper location of advertisement boards, level crossings, etc., remain closed when it is not required to be closed. These are the other causes. So various causes of road accidents can be studied as road users, vehicles, road condition, road design, environmental factors, and other factors. Next one is accident statistics. So accident analysis include, first one is accident data collection. For the first step in the accident study is to collect the data regarding the accident. The primary duty of data collection after an accident is entrusted with the police department. So what are the data to be collected for an accident? Okay, or after an accident, what are the main data to be collected? So the data to be collected after an accident includes, first one is a general data, like what is the date and time, who are the persons involved in the accident, what is the category of accident, whether the accident is of a serious nature or a minor nature. These are the general information to be collected. Then location at which accident has occurred, that is very important. Description and detail of location of the accident. Then what are the vehicles involved in the accident? If it is only a vehicle, a moving vehicle colliding with a stationary object, or two moving vehicles, or one moving vehicle and another stationary vehicle, how many number of vehicles are involved in the accident? The complete details like description of the vehicle, registration number of the vehicle, if the vehicle is loaded, what is the loading data of the vehicle, what are the defects to the vehicle, such data regarding the vehicle need to be collected properly. Next one is, what is the nature of accident? Once an accident has occurred, the police person should be reporting at the site and preparing the details of collision, how the collision has occurred, what are the possible chances of collision, what are the damages, how many injuries, how many casualties are reported. So nature of the accident is highly important. Next one is road and traffic condition. What is the road geometry? What is the surface characteristics of the road? What is the type of traffic density, etc. Next one is primary causes of accident. Then accident cost. What are the financial losses incurred due to the accident? Like it can be financial causes due to personal injury, financial cost due to casualty, and also financial cost due to property damage. If the vehicle has been damaged and if any other adjacent properties on the road has been damaged, all the total costs need to be estimated for computing the accident cost. Now, accident investigation. For accident data collection, it involves extensive investigation. What are the extensive investigation to be done in accident data collection? First one is reporting. So basic data collection in two or more methods is important in reporting. Motorist accident report. The motorist who's involved in the accident need to file the report. Next one is police accident report. The police officer who is conducting the investigation will be preparing a report and submitting to the officer. So in case of accident, if the person is not suffering from casualty or serious injury, the person involved in the accident himself or herself will be submitting a report. Next one, at scene investigation. Once an accident is reported, the accident study conducting team consisting of police and other government officers will be visiting the site, and they will be collecting information from the site, like if any skid marks are present on the road, what is the measurement of skid marks, then what is the condition and what is the functioning of traffic control devices and other road equipments, etc. Next one is technical preparation. This data collection step is needed for organization and interpretation of the study method. In this step, what is the grades, what is the site distances, then what is the after accident situation, what are the design curves, etc. These data need to be collected in technical preparation. Then cost analysis. Why the accident has occurred. This can be concluded from the data available, and also what are the accident studies. Now, accident data analysis. In order to find what is the possible cause of accident, whether is it related to driver, vehicle, or roadway, we have to analyze the accident data. So accident data is analyzed to get informations like, first one is driver and pedestrian. Driver and pedestrian means the accident occurrence by age group and relationship of accidents to physical capabilities and to psychological test results. Second one is, if the accident occurrence is due to characteristics of vehicle, what is the location, what is the extent of damage related to vehicle. Next one is roadway condition. the relationship of accident occurrence and severity to the characteristics of roadway and roadway condition. So accident data analysis include driver and pedestrian data, vehicle data, and roadway conditions data. These analysis questions, numerical, such things are not important. So these are the basic things. Now we have to discuss also about the collision of vehicles after accidents, that we will be discussing later.